The Detroit Lions went out and proved last week that they do not need Ben Johnson, and they went out and did it against the former offensive coordinator himself and took down the Chicago Bears 52-21. The Lions proved the entire NFL that they are just as dangerous of an offense this year as what they were last year. And say what you want about the Chicago Bears, but man, they have always had a very good defense. I've always put them in the top 5 to 10 conversation defensively, and I think that their defense is still pretty good this year. And to put up 52 points on them while not even really playing a perfect or, even an amazing game offensively just shows that there's still more to come from this team. As good as that offense was, like I said, I do think that we could have played even better. There was a couple plays and a couple drives that just were not great. But man, what a beatdown. What a great way to bounce back after a tough loss week 1. And to make things even better, the Packers sold against the Cleveland Browns this week as they fall to 2-1. Obviously big news for the Detroit Lions and the rest of the NFC North. Now in today's video, we're just going to be going through all the examples, all the reasons why the Detroit Lions do not need Ben Johnson. The things that I've been telling people for weeks, the thing that I have been trying to tell Lions fans that have been hating on John Morton and this Lions offense after that week 1 loss to the Packers. The Detroit Lions are going to be just fine without Ben Johnson. For starters, let's just look at Jared Goff, the guy that everyone said was a Ben Johnson merchant and could not get things done without him. Going off 23 for 28 passing, 334 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air. Jared Goff went out and proved that he is not a Ben Johnson merchant and that he, in fact, made Ben Johnson a Jared Goff merchant. Jared Goff had a damn near perfect game, and honestly, he was phenomenal the entire game. I thought the offense was awesome, and I think he completed something like 18 of his last 19 passes in that game. They just stepped it up a notch heading into the second half, and right there at the end of the half with that insane Tesla catch. What a catch, by the way. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery had a decent game as well. Gibbs with about 8 yards a carry off 12 carries for 94 yards. 1 touchdown as well, and Montgomery also getting in the end zone. And then also not to mention Amon-Ra St. Brown, who probably had his best career game with 9 catches for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. J-Mo got some end zone action as well as Brock Wright. It was a touchdown party last week, and the Detroit Lions honestly probably could have put up 70 if they wanted to. I mean, we were heading into the fourth quarter putting up 52. And this just goes to show that, as good of a defense as the Bears have, as good as a defense as any team in the league has, the Lions are capable of doing this thing. The Lions are capable of doing what they did against the Bears. Now, what was the difference in this game compared to last week? I really want to point this out to everyone and why we were able to dominate this week as much as we did compared to what we did against the Packers. It all starts with the offensive line. I think that the offensive line was the biggest number 1 reason why we lost to the Packers. Obviously, the defense wasn't phenomenal either, but the defense really wasn't phenomenal in this game either, although they did force, I believe, 2 turnovers, which was huge, and that was also, a deciding factor in this. But the biggest difference in this game compared to the Packers game was 100% the offensive line. Graham Glasgow looked like his prime self again. The entire O-line was great pass protected. I think Goff only got sacked. I don't even know if he did get sacked. I don't think he did. And not to mention that they were very good in the run blocking game as well, as David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs rushed for about 150 total yards. I thought the offensive line was 100% one of the biggest reasons why this team was able to do as good as they did. Now, obviously, number 2 would be the play calling. I thought John Morton, compared to week 1, was phenomenal. He looked a lot better. He seemed so much better in the play calling, the creativity, and just being able to get our weapons used. Now, obviously, week 1 was a little weird. Goff didn't have time to throw deep. Our run game would not get going. The O-line just couldn't do anything. And that's why I think people put too much blame on John Morton compared to what they should be putting on the offensive line. But the O-line stepped it up this week, and I thought John Morton was even more improved as well. Now, obviously, defensively, the Detroit Lions were not great in this game, but they were also pretty damn good, considering we were able to force 2 turnovers, and the Bears only scored a touchdown later in the fourth quarter when this game was already out of hand. If the Detroit Lions offense can keep this up and maybe just have, 1 or 2 rough games the rest of the year, I really do think we can still hit my prediction of 13-4. But tomorrow's test against the Baltimore Ravens is really going to determine how this season will go. Now, obviously, depending on when you're watching this video, you might already know how this game goes. Obviously, hoping that it goes well, the Detroit Lions will take on a team that they lost to 38-6 just 2 seasons ago. but now they're playing on prime time with a healthy team, and I think that they are going to try and give the Ravens a run for their money. This game will mean a lot when it comes down to playoff seeding and, whether or not the Detroit Lions look like Super Bowl contenders. If the Lions were to somehow win this game, I think my confidence would be through the roof. We'd be back up to 2-1, and we've got a pretty decently easy stretch of games coming up with the Browns, Bengals, and the Chiefs, who are also 0-2, but obviously going to Kansas City is going to be tough. I'm very excited and enthusiastic to see what this team does against the Ravens. This is going to be a great test. If the offense comes out and does what they did last week, I think we're going to be just fine. Everyone talked about how Ben Johnson was, the savior of Detroit, and how when he left, the Lions are not going to be the same team. I want to put all those rumors away and take down this Ravens team that, even I have doubts that we will beat. If we can go out and prove everyone wrong and beat this team on the road on Monday night, I genuinely do think that the Detroit Lions will be Super Bowl contenders when it's all said and done this year. They proved last week that Ben Johnson was not the reason that they were putting up 40 to 50 points every game last year. Now they just need to stay consistent. John Morton continued to call great plays, and the O-line continue to gel. Those are the biggest things that we need offensively. We have the players to win it all this year. All that matters is that we stay healthy and stay consistent. Ben Johnson, I'm sorry, but you will not be missed here in Detroit after what you did to us in that playoff game. Rather than preparing and game planning and getting strategies down for the Commanders, you instead decided to take up multiple job offerings and interviews, and you did not come prepared for that game. We will not forgive you for that. Obviously, we appreciate everything you did over the last couple of years, but what you did for us in your final game will always be remembered. But what you did for us in your final game will always be remembered the most. Let me know what you guys think about this video and my take on, obviously the Ben Johnson stuff, that we don't need him anymore. I've been saying it for a while now, we don't. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are on what I said about the offensive line and obviously the play calling, how the offensive line is probably the most important thing for us this season. And also what you guys think the Ravens game will be like, or if the Ravens game's already over when you're watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game as well. I'm going to try and get a video up for the Ravens game as well to recap, probably only if we win, but we'll see what happens. Go Lions. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.